Hello, and thank you for tuning in today. Today, I have planned for you a practice for happiness. Yeah. Happiness takes practice, right? It doesn't just happen. And I'm going to talk all about that today. So what I would like you to do is go ahead and lie down on your backs to get started today. So lying down as if you're in Shavasana. And I should say before we start, I already told those that were here live today, we will be using some kind of a prop today, whether you have a couple of blocks, a blanket to roll up, your little zafuko or cushion or something like that. Just make sure you have something handy. And just start lying down, taking any comfortable position. You might bend to the knees and bring the feet to the floor, or just extend the legs and turn the palms up by your sides. And let's take a full deep breath in together. And as you exhale, sigh it out. Good, deep breath in. And sigh it out. Just letting go of all of the things that have held your attention from your day so far. And if you haven't already, just softly close the eyes. Let's continue to keep your awareness tuned in and take the first few moments here to just simply check in. To tune into your starting point today. Notice any physical sensation or awareness that draws you in, as well as the state of your emotions or even mental status today. Just taking it all in and getting a sense of the overall feeling tone of being you in this moment. And as we move through our practice today, please remember to use this body, this one that rolled out their mat this morning. Please shift your awareness now to your breath. We're not controlling the breath in any way right now, just simply watching the breath, watching it move in and watching it move out. So we'll call today's practice, happiness takes practice. Now, most people believe that happiness is the result of external factors, right? Maybe you've got a great job, maybe you've achieved an accomplishment, maybe, life is good, you have fulfilling work, you have financial security. Others believe that our baseline of happiness lies in genetic factors, right? Maybe some people are just born happy. And yet others believe that we can just simply look on the bright side and think positive thoughts to be happier. So there's actually been a lot of research on happiness. And research shows that the key to happiness is not in changing our genetic makeup, because obviously we can't do that. And it's actually not so much in changing our circumstances, which in some studies has shown to be ineffectual as well. But it's in understanding that daily intentional activities promote happiness, and happiness takes practice. So there have been some studies that looked at the wealthiest of Americans. Like, I'm talking people that make more than $10 million annually. And when rating their happiness, they only score just very slightly higher than are average Americans that make, your working wage. There's also another study that looked at lottery winners, and checking in with lottery winners like a year after they've had some big windfall. They don't even rate being any happier in their lives than they were prior. Decades of research has also shown that a great deal of our own happiness is, in fact, under our control. It is dependent on what we do in our daily lives. In fact, even the Dalai Lama is quoted as saying, if you want to be happy, practice compassion. And the key is to just take these happiness practices and find a place for them in our everyday lives. Being intentional. And there's lots of ways that we can practice happiness, right? We can practice random acts of kindness throughout the day. We can just simply smile more. We can make more connections with people. We can do those things that bring us joy, that take us into that flow moment where all of our worries and cares just disappear. Now, there's no saying that you have to, I don't know, put up posters of, cute little kitties for happiness, but you could start a gratitude jar or a gratitude practice. Maybe you're writing in a journal of the things that you're happy with or happy for or grateful for. Another idea might be to take a little mason jar, a cute little mason jar that you've picked up, or some kind of decorative pot that you can see. And then every time you have an occurrence of happiness or gratitude, maybe you take a stone or a pebble or a marble and you place it in that jar. And then over time, you can watch and see how that happiness grows. So just some ideas for you to maybe incorporate into your daily life. And another way that we can work on happiness as a practice, especially within our yoga practice, is to use mantra or intention. So intention is something that I invite everyone to set at the beginning of our practice, right? Intention of what it is that you want to cultivate or attract into your life, whether it's joy or compassion or patience or flexibility or whatever it happens to be, right? Well, if you think of an intention, the way we use it in yoga, it's not a one-off thing, right? We say the intention, we set it, and we repeat it, we remind ourselves, right? We keep going back over it. It's kind of like a fake it till you make it kind of thing, right? We keep saying it intentionally, repeatedly, until we believe what we're saying. Well, the mantra is much like that. And the mantra that I'll offer for today is, I change my thoughts, I change my world. And I've said before, yoga is an inside job, right? We can do all the physical work, but all of the other stuff that we learn in yoga about ourselves, about awareness, about mind-body connection is something that we do internally. And happiness is the same way. And our mantra works the same way. Your thoughts are what can a lot of times be the root of our perception of the world, if that makes sense, right? So you think happy thoughts and we're happier, right? We're intentionally being happy. What you think, you become. So we think happy thoughts. I change my thoughts, I change my world. And that'll be the mantra that I'll continue to come back to in our practice today. Now, of course, if you have any other intention that you wish to set for your practice, then please take a moment and discover what that intention is for you today. And then please begin to lengthen and deepen your inhalation. Letting the inhalation become more full and the exhalation more complete. And then slowly start to bring some movement back to the body. The next inhale, take the arms, stretch them up overhead. Maybe stretch the toes in the opposite directions. Maybe you'll bring the knees into the chest and rock a bit side to side. You will eventually make your way up to sit. So just coming to sit up in a simple cross-leg position. And feel free to pop yourself up on a cushion or a blanket if you wish. And before we begin any movement, we'll do a little bit of pranayama. And this morning we'll do Durga breath or 3-part breath. And I will introduce it as well in 3 parts. So let's begin by taking right hand to the heart and left hand to the belly. And then as you sit up tall, please close your eyes. And just simply tune into the breath at first. So we're not controlling the breath in any way right now. We're just simply breathing, just becoming aware of the body's own natural rhythm of breath. All right, let's everyone take a full deep breath in. A little more conscious awareness, and exhale completely. Let that breath go. All right, next inhale, we'll breathe into the belly. So let it be a big diaphragmatic breath. So as you inhale, the left hand is being pushed out with the belly. And as you exhale, the belly draws back toward the spine. So intentionally exhaling. Good, do that again, just a full deep belly breath. Inhale, belly expands into the hand. And as you exhale, belly contracts intentionally back toward the spine. Now we'll add on to that breath. Inhale deeply into the belly. Now breathe in a little bit more, feel the ribs expand laterally. And then as you exhale, exhale from the ribs and then the belly. And we'll do that again, just like that. Inhale belly, inhale ribs, exhale ribs, exhale belly. Now we'll add on the 3rd part. Inhale belly, inhale ribs. Now feel the chest and the collarbones rise. And then exhale chest, ribs, and belly. Good. Inhale belly, ribs, chest. Exhale chest, ribs, and belly. And we'll do a few more of these on your own. Just inhaling from bottom to top and exhaling from top to bottom. Just continuing with the breath. If you like this proprioception of the breath by having the hand on the chest and the belly, stay there. If you prefer, you can take the hands and release them back down to the thighs, yogi's choice. Please take 3 more breaths this way. And then now releasing control of the breath, just return to normal breathing. And maybe tuning into the after effects, just feeling how calm and focused you might be. And then let's allow the eyes to blink open. And let's come off of our seated position and flip over onto hands and knees. And we'll take Balasana, or child's pose. So big toes together, as much space as you like between the thighs. And we'll extend the arms forward, letting the forehead rest on the floor. If the forehead doesn't comfortably come to the floor, stack the hands, stack fists, pull in a block. Yeah. Let's take a moment. Tuning back in. I change my thoughts. I change my world. Now, if you have some prop underneath the forehead, just release that off to the side. Both arms extend forward. Take an inhale. And as you exhale, walk both arms and the upper body out to your left. So now chest and belly are more on the left thigh than they are centered. Sending your right hip farther out to the right. You may even walk your right fingertips closer to the left hand, feeling a really nice right body stretch. Feeling into the back of the arm, the shoulder, the ribs, the side waist. Let's breathe into it, make some space. And then we'll inhale, come back to center. And before we go to the other side, we'll take a twist. So we'll keep the left arm extending. The right arm threads underneath the left, reaching all the way out to the left, dropping your right shoulder toward the earth. And then you have choices with the left arm. You can keep extending the left arm overhead. You might bring the left hand in front of the face for different kind of support, or even bring the left hand to rest on the low back. And we'll stay here for 3 more breaths. It's getting a nice upper body twist. Feeling more stretch now along the right side of the upper back, the back of that shoulder. 1 more breath here. And then pressing down into the left arm, unthread the right arm, take that right arm overhead. And then we'll walk both arms and the upper body over to your right. Now stretching the left side waist, the left side body, the left hip sinks out to the left. Maybe your left hand walks closer to the right. On inhale, walk back to center, keeping the right arm extended, and now we'll twist to the left. So that left arm spreads to the left, lowering left shoulder toward the floor. It doesn't have to come down to the floor. Extend, bring it in front of the hand, take it around the low back. Into the right hand, unthread the left arm. And on inhale, bring yourself all the way up onto all 4s. So we're up on hands and knees. Spread those fingers out wide. Shoulders stacked right over the wrists. So be really intentional about everything in our practice today. Mindful and intentional. Spreading those fingers out wide, press the palms of the hands down, look back at your knees for a moment, make sure that they're right underneath your hips and the feet are extending directly back behind the knees. On an inhale, pull the heel of the hands back and draw the heart forward, the chest forward. So we're arching the spine. And on exhale, push the floor away, round the back like a cat, tucking to the chin to the chest, looking back at the belly. Let's take 3 more of those. Inhale. And exhale. Using some dynamic movement as well today can not only help clear stress and tension from the body, but also from the mind, so that we have a little more control over what's going on up there, right? I control my thoughts. I control, not control, I change my thoughts. I change my world. And let's come to neutral spine now. So back's neither arched nor rounded. And take your right arm, extend your right arm forward. Start with the fingertips on the floor, just offsetting our balance a little bit. Notice as we offset the balance, the core has to work a bit more. So continue to draw low belly up towards your spine. Now, just maybe you can lift the arm off the floor and extend right arm alongside the ear. If you're doing that, we're reaching and extending into the fingertips. The arm's really active. Now take your left leg and extend your left leg back. Begin with the toes stamped down on the floor and decide whether you'd like to lift. Even if the toes are down on the floor, the leg is active as well. Maybe the leg lifts till it's about hip height. Watch the sagging of the belly. Keep lifting that low belly up. Very intentional and conscious about our choices in our practice today. Take one more breath here. And then place the right hand down under the shoulder and the left knee down under the hip. Then we'll change sides. Left arm extends forward. Fingertips to the floor to begin with. Feel the balance offset. Feel your core kick in. And then lift the arm if you like. And extend the right leg back. Toes on the ground or lift. If the leg is lifted, it's active. So we're stretching the leg back, stretching the left arm forward, watching that the low belly doesn't sag down. Lift the belly toward the spine. And then lowering the hand down and the knee down. Now let's go back to dynamic movement, and we'll dynamically switch with the breath side to side. Next, inhale, right arm and left leg. And then set it down on the exhale. Inhale, left arm, right leg. Exhale, set it down. Good. Continue shifting side to side. Stay intentional, stay tuned in. See if you can control that shift and that movement side to side in the body by keeping control of the abs, keeping clear about your connection to your mat. Let's do one more each side. And returning to all fours. All right, take your hips back to your heels, please. Back to child's pose, arms extending forward. Now on an inhale, glide forward up to all fours to cow pose. So let the low belly drop, heel of the hands draw back as you move the chest forward. And then exhale, tuck the tailbone and round back to child's pose. So back to more dynamic movement. Inhale forward, cow pose, belly drops, lengthen the chest forward. Exhale, tuck the tailbone back. Two more. Last one here. Inhale back up onto all fours. This time, bring your right foot with you. Right foot comes forward, hands on either side of the front foot. Now, if you have blocks and you're using them today, great place to use them is just to place blocks on either side of the front foot. And we'll be active and intentional about our pose and our shape here. The right foot comes forward enough so that your knee is about over the ankle, right? So we just don't want that knee shooting out forward. And we're pressing the foot down, pressing the back knee down, and then find some scissoring action, right? So the legs are really active in control here. And we're lengthening the spine. Look forward, lengthen. But as the hips drop forward, feeling some kind of a stretch across the front of your back thigh, the front of the hip. And let's take an exhale and shift your hips back, lengthen the right leg out in front of you. Now stretching the back of the front leg. Either keep the sole of the foot down or pick up the foot, drawing the toes towards you. As you inhale, lengthen the spine. As you exhale, fold over, bow over the front leg. I change my thoughts. I change my world. And remember, that can go both ways, right? No matter what it is that we're getting hung up on in our thoughts, good or bad, kind of change our disposition, right? All right, let's inhale, shift back forward, hips forward, and take the right leg and go back, and then go all the way back to child's pose. Inhale up onto all fours, cow pose again. Exhale back to child's pose. One more time, moving through, inhale forward, exhale back. This time as you come up, left foot comes forward. We'll do the same thing, the same two poses. Left foot forward, walking it up, so make sure you have enough room. And then get really active and clear. Press the right knee down, and then scissor the legs together as you lengthen the spine, looking forward. So the heart is open, right? In order to feel gratitude, to attract those good positive vibes, we need to have the heart open rather than being closed off. So we'll also spend a good amount of our practice today doing that. All right, let's exhale, shift the hips back, lengthen the left leg out in front of you, getting that nice stretch to the back of the left leg here. Again, flex the foot if you like. Lengthen the spine and fold over the leg. And we'll inhale, shift forward, take the left leg back to child's pose, just for a moment. We'll inhale, glide forward up onto the knees again. Curl your toes under, downward facing dog this time. So hips up and back. And we won't be here long. So bend the knees deeply. Think really more about lengthening the spine. The hips are moving up and back. And now walk your feet forward to the top of the mat. Uttanasana, forward fold. Inhale, halfway up. So hands on the shins or on the floor if you prefer. Lengthen the spine forward. Exhale, fold back down. The next inhaling breath brings you all the way up. Look first. So find your halfway point and then root to rise. Good. Reach the arms all the way up overhead. As the arms go up, the spine goes up, but keep your shoulders drawing down. Now interlace the hands above the head and press the palms away from you. All right. Once the arms are overhead, and I realize I'm a little off camera for that, have this pull apart feeling, like you're pulling the fingers apart, but they're going to be locked in. As you pull the fingers apart, widen the elbows, right? So pulling the fingers apart, widen the elbows and draw the shoulders down, but at the same time, press the palms of the hands up. Take an inhale here. As you exhale, we'll take a lateral bend to your left. So just stretching more on the right side. Keep all of that action going in the arms, the hands, right? You're pulling the hands apart, widening the elbows and drawing the shoulders down. Inhale, bring yourself all the way upright. And we'll do the same thing. Lateral bend to your right, just stretching the left side body. And then inhale, bring yourself all the way up and lower the arms all the way down by your sides. Turn the palms forward. Lift the chest, lift the collarbones. Okay. I'm going to turn backwards to you for a moment. I don't like to do that, but turning backwards, palms face forward. Take your right arm, turn the palm facing behind you. Okay. Now bend the right elbow and catch the upper left arm. So left palm is still facing forward.
I couldn't, sorry.
Lift the shoulders, roll them back, and open the chest. So we're lifting the chest, lifting the collarbones. Just taking a little stretch now to the front of that shoulder. Good. Let's release that arm from behind. Turn the right palm to face forward. Turn your left palm to face back. Bend the elbow, reach behind. Can you catch the upper arm on the left side? Lift the chest, lift the collarbones, but draw the shoulders down. And release the arm from behind. Take both hands back behind. Interlace the fingers. If interlacing doesn't work so well for you, you can just grab the back of your t-shirt. If you have a belt handy, you can catch onto a belt between the hands here. But if interlacing works for you, we'll take the hands back behind, lift the shoulders, roll the shoulders back, and lift the chest. So just a mini standing back bend here. All right, so we've got the arms in place, root down through the feet, feel that energy drop the legs, intentionally engage the abdominals. Navel draws back to the spine, up to the ribs, lift the chest, lift the collarbones. I change my thoughts, I change my world. And release the interlace from behind. Take an inhale, sweep those arms up overhead, always keeping the shoulders drawn down. And as you exhale, forward fold all the way down. Just a little half sun salutation. Inhale, hands on the shins or the floor, half lift, lengthen forward. Exhale, fold back down. The next inhale brings us all the way up. Make sure you look first. So make your way toward that halfway point, then root to rise. Feet press down as you lift the heart and lower the arms. Now let's do just one more like that. Inhale, sweep the arms up overhead. And exhale, forward fold, Uttanasana. Inhale to your half lift, lengthen. Exhale and fold. And then inhale, bring yourself all the way up. And hands to heart center. Good. Please walk your feet closer together. So feet are closer together. We'll take Vrikshasana or tree pose. So hands can remain at heart center or take hands to your hips. And here's how we'll be more intentional with tree pose. With the hands on the hips, find mountain pose first. Press the feet firmly down. In fact, now press more firmly down through your right foot. So really press down, right foot pressing down, lift your left heel off the floor, but don't let that right hip sink out to the right, right? This is mindlessly, right? Not paying attention to what's going on. So we want to keep that hip drawing in toward your midline as we lift the heel. Now stay here, or maybe you open the hip, rest the heel on the inside of the ankle, still not letting that hip sink out, right? We're still drawing it in and up. Or maybe you lift the sole of the foot to come to the inside of the calf. You decide. Breathe. Stay tuned in to the breath, to our mantra, to your intention. I change my thoughts. I change my world. Tree pose has both grounding and uplifting effects. And let's release, step it out, shake the leg. That standing leg, right? That's the one that's doing all this work here. And then return to mountain pose. Hands on the hips, just for that little bit of extra awareness. So you're going to stamp down heavily through the left foot. Keep that left hip drawing in, bend the right knee. See if you can minimize any shift. Open the hip to the side, either rest the heel on the ankle or pick it up. Slowly stepping out, shake those legs. All right, let's all take a wide stance now. So you can turn on your mat sideways so that you can stay on it, but take a nice wide stance, and we'll start with the feet parallel. So feet parallel, hands on your hips, and let's take warrior two. So we'll take warrior two to your right. So turn your left heel back and turn your right toes forward. Okay. Now in warrior two, back leg is an anchor. So we're going to really firm into that back leg, pressing down pinky toe side of that back foot, and then bend your right knee until the knee is about over the ankle. Torso and heart are mostly facing the long edge of your mat. And then we float the arms up parallel to the floor, reaching fingertips in opposite directions. Good. Keep lifting the chest, open the heart, collarbones rise. Feel just as much opening through the front of your body as you have through the upper back. And you're gazing out past right fingertips. We'll lower the arms down, straighten the front leg. We'll transition to Trikonasana or triangle pose. Take your left hand to your hip and bring that right arm back out again, parallel to the floor. Now let your right hip dip down as your left one goes back, reaching the right arm forward. So we're not dropping down yet. We're just reaching forward. So we keep the right side waist really, really long, right? And be mindful here. Sometimes, just like in tree pose, when the hips go out to the side, sometimes in Trikonasana, our butt kind of goes back behind us. Keep that hip drawing in, like you're kind of tucking it underneath you. But once you've reached out as far forward as you can, let the right fingertips drop down. So maybe they graze the shin somewhere. If you're using a block, you could have a block right here underneath the fingertips. Chest is open. And options for the left arm. You could reach the left arm up to the sky. So we've got kind of like our warrior arms here. You could have hand to the hip, or even take the left hand back behind you. So the right fingertips are reaching toward the earth, and the left arm, whether the arm is extended, right, or we have the hand on the hip or the shoulder, we're reaching open with the left side. Let's take one more breath here. Slight bend in the right knee and bring yourself all the way up. Lower the arms, turn your feet back to parallel, and then we'll go to the other side. Your right heel is going to turn back and your left toes are going to turn forward. All right, so we start with warrior two. Back leg is anchoring, left knee bends. Torso is facing mostly this long edge of the mat, and we'll float the arms up parallel to the floor. Chest is open, shoulders are down, collarbones are broadening, and you're gazing down past left fingertips. Stay tuned in. And on your next inhale, straighten the left leg, lower the arms, right hand comes to the hip, left arm goes back out parallel to the floor. The left hip dips down. Be mindful of the butt sticking out back behind you, right? So we're kind of tucking that left hip under. Reach, reach, reach as far as you can. Left side of the waist is really long, and then just let the arm hang down. Maybe fingertips drop to the shin. Again, you could have a block right there as well. And then the right shoulder, the right side of the chest is opening. Find the placement of your right hand, maybe behind the back, maybe at the hip, maybe reaching up to the sky. Let's start to exit the posture, coming out, little bend in the left knee, press and lift all the way up, turning your feet back to parallel. And then step or hop the feet together, shaking those legs out. Yeah, good. All right, we'll come on down to the mat, and the next posture we'll take is pigeon pose. So pigeon pose is, and we'll do pigeon on the right side. So full pigeon, Ekapada Rajakapatasana is pigeon pose. Full pose would be here with the right knee forward, left leg extending back. And alternate for this, you don't have to do it forward facing. You could come down onto your back with the right ankle over the left knee. So yogi's choice, what variation you pick, okay? This is a little more gentle. The forward facing is a little more intense. So you choose whatever you like for your body. We'll hold each side for about 5 breaths, okay? So choose wisely, be intentional about your practice today. Just finding some variation here where you're feeling sensation in the outer right hip. And again, just about 5 breaths. Continuing to stay tuned in and watching the thoughts, watching the breath. Let's make our way to side 2. Right, so if you're forward facing, you can just switch the legs. If you're reclined on your back, just switch your legs right there. Making your way in, settling down. And we're starting to slow down the practice a little bit more. There's obviously more time for thought. So watch those thoughts as they come in. Right? Maybe intentionally starting to make a mental list of the things that make you happy. Right? When do you find happy moments in your life? And chances are, if you look back at the happiest moments, they're probably surrounding some kind of celebration or achievement, right? Connection with people. Maybe those happy moments are those times when you are just in that flow, in that zone. And then we make the conscious choice to spend more time doing those things. All right, let's inhale, we'll release this posture. And everyone will come up to sit, but just for a moment, because we're going to use some props for the next pose. We will do a supported chest opener, or supported back bend. So 2 options. Option number 1, if you happen to have 2 yoga blocks, you place the 2 yoga blocks about 6 inches from one another, both on the middle height to start with. All right, so there's about 6-inch space between them. And then I kind of lower myself carefully onto the blocks so that that first edge of the first block is right about at my bra line. So when I lie back, shoulder blades kind of flatten out. And then the second block is hopefully about at the head. And then soles of the feet together, knees drop open, right? Really nice and open. Now, not all of us have the yoga blocks. So if you don't have yoga blocks, you could do a variation of that with your little Zafuko cushion. It's a little bit shorter, but you can have that span the space between the shoulder blade and the head. Okay. Third option is with the blanket. So if you have a yoga blanket or, beach towels, whatever you have, just roll them up and we'll make like a little tiny burrito here. or tiny. I guess it's actually a pretty big burrito if it was a real burrito, right? But we do basically the same thing. You'll sit out in front of it and lower yourself back so that the front edge of that blanket or whatever support you have is right at the base of the shoulder blades, and drop the head and upper body back. Soles of the feet together, let the knees open. And then let your eyes soften and close. Consciously, intentionally here, opening the heart. You might even let a smile sneak across your face. Let's take 3 more beautiful deep breaths here. And then lifting the legs, bringing the knees back to point up. And remember that you're supported on whatever you're supported on. So just gently roll to one side and slowly press yourself up. As you come up, let the head be the very last thing to come up. And then whatever prop you have, move that off to the side. If you have a block, we'll use that as we come to lying on our back. If you don't have a block, again, the little cushion, a rolled up or tightly folded up blanket can also substitute. But go ahead and lie back down on your back, and we'll take supported bridge pose now. So lying all the way back, feet to the floor, knees bent. Press into the floor to lift the hips and slide whatever prop you have underneath the sacrum. So it'll be resting just above the tailbone, but below any vertebrae. So it's right on that flat little spot, and use whatever height you like, right? So you might take the block up a little bit higher or even stack a couple of things underneath you, and let the arms again turn up, palms turn up by the sides. Just allowing for some decompression in the spine. And this is technically an inversion. An inversion just means that head is above the heart, right? The head is, or no, the heart is above the head. The head is lower than the heart. And there's a lot of studies that have been done about doing inversions and all of the benefits that they provide. Right? We're getting an extra rush of fresh oxygenated blood up in the brain. Stimulating all of these great feel-good chemicals. We'll be here for a few breaths more. If there are any other options you want to take or variations to this positioning, some of those options might be, or I'll give you 2. You could take one or both legs and extend them straight out, keeping the heels on the ground. Now, this gives you a deeper back bend, so be mindful of that. It doesn't work for everyone's low back, but it also gives us a nice passive stretch to the hip flexors, the front of the hips here. If you don't like that, right, you can always come back to just feet on the floor as we started, or you could just take legs and extend them up toward the ceiling. So like a variation of legs up the wall or shoulder stand, right? This would be a supported shoulder stand variation. Let's take 2 more deep breaths here, whichever variation you're in. Let's breathe deeply. And then one at a time. If the legs are extended, bend the knees, feet find the earth. If your legs are extended and the heels on the ground, you're also going to bend the knees and bring the feet to the floor. And then we'll lift the hips up off of whatever support you have and set that off to the side. We'll finish with just a really brief twist here. So please draw the knees in towards your chest, rock a little bit side to side. And we'll take a 2 knee twist. So keep the knees lifted, release the arms out, and then drop both knees to your left, aiming the knees closer to the shoulder, right, than lower. It helps us keep a little more balance in the hips, in the low back. And feel free to turn the head to the right if you like. One more breath. And then inhale, untwist, come back onto your back. And then we'll take those knees and drop them the other side. So knees lifted, drop the knees to the right, aiming them more toward the shoulder than below the hip. So thighs stay relatively stacked here, maybe turning head to look over the left shoulder. And again, maybe just allowing that smile to sneak across the mouth. And we'll inhale, untwist. Knees in, rock a little side to side if you like. And then as you're ready, find Shavasana. Always taking a few moments here. Just allow your body to integrate and absorb your practice. Please begin to lengthen and deepen the inhalation. It's calling the energy back to the body. And then we'll begin to wiggle fingers and toes. Or gently rock the head side to side. As you're ready for more movement, bend the knees and roll to one side or the other. Bring yourself all the way up to sit. Maybe even keeping eyes still closed. And as you sit tall, joining the hands in Anjali Mudra, palm against palm. Take a full deep breath in as you lift the heart into the hands. And as you exhale, bowing chin to your chest. Always taking a moment for gratitude at the end of our practice. This gratitude to ourselves, to you for taking this time for you today. And I thank you for sharing your practice with me. Namaste.